Hello everyone, Monet Souza here. I'm joined in studio by Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers. He's known as the dynamic deacon. He's a best-selling author, speaker. He's traveling around and currently he is in Boston, Massachusetts. Deacon Harold, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Monet. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So at the time of this filming, you are doing a parish mission, 3 different days packed with beautiful dynamic talks, and just the opportunity to hear you speak at our parish at St. Mary's in Dedham has been a blessing. You know, looking at your website, you do portray yourself and explain yourself as being a speaker who takes a no-nonsense approach. I would like to learn a little bit more about what that approach looks like and the importance of standing true in the faith and how you convey that in your different talks and your books and events that you lead.
Yeah, so I speak literally all over the world, and I speak to a lot of young people, high schools and colleges and universities. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding 3 things that speak to the no-nonsense approach. I hear from young people constantly, basically 3 things. 1, we want to hear the truth and we're not hearing it. Mm-hmm. And what is truth? Truth is not a philosophical construct. Truth is not an idea you form in your mind. Truth is a person.
Right. Jesus
Christ says, I am the way, the truth, mm-hmm. and the life. Yes. But we live in a culture of subjective truth, of moral relativism, where, you know, that may be true for you, but that's not true for me. And we don't have time for that. You know, the gospel mm-hmm. is too important. The message of salvation is too important. Right. So I cut through all of the stuff to get to the heart, which is deep, intimate, personal relationship with Jesus Christ. The second thing I hear for young people, there's a serious disconnect between their faith and their everyday lived experience. So they say Mass is boring because they don't know why they're there. They're there because mommy and daddy make them go. Mm-hmm. But what's going to make them want to continue that relationship, especially with Christ in his Eucharistic presence, after they leave the parents' house and go off to college where no one's making them go to church anymore? That's, you know?
Yep.
And then finally, they have no idea how much God loves them. Mm. You know, I spoke at an Archdiocese of Sydney, Australia event to middle schoolers, and about 700 of them. And when I got off the stage, there was a young priest at the bottom of the stairs. Cause I made the comment during the talk that they have no idea how much God loves them. And the father said, let me tell you, drive home the point you just made. When I was first ordained, he's only been ordained for 3 years. When I was first ordained, he put me in the Catholic high school to teach religion. And I just wrote on the board one day, you know, I believe in God, I don't believe in God. And I asked the students to stand under the statement that best represents what they believe. He said, most of the students stood under I believe in God. Mm-hmm. Some, I don't believe in God. Okay, fine. Then he wrote, God loves me, God doesn't love me. And Father told me that none of the students stood under the statement that said, God loves me. Wow. Not one. He said a handful stood under the statement, God doesn't love me, but most just sat there because they weren't sure. Wow. How could they not be sure mm-hmm. that God loves them, that God's inviting them to share life with him? How could they not be sure? So my approach is, let's, you know, playtime is over. We should not be filling our youth with pizza and soda and somehow through osmosis supposed to fall in love with Jesus. Right. I mean, they want to know that all the things that happen at Mass, word and sacrament, actually mean something in their lives every day. Mm-hmm. We need to talk about hard issues because they want answers. They're getting lied to by the culture, and the church has the fullness of truth. We need to share the beauty of that truth in love, right? Ephesians 4:15, Paul says, preach the truth in love. So my whole approach to how I deliver or present the Catholic faith is the truth in love, but it's got to be the truth.
Yes, no, I totally agree with you. And even the way that you're conveying that is not just through your talks that you're leading, but you're also doing virtual workshops. You have books. Can you tell us maybe a little bit about where people can go to find the workshops, whether it's the Apologetics 101, or even if you want to share a little bit about your upcoming book?
Yeah, so just deaconharold.com made it really easy for everybody, right? So you can get books and other resources there, tons of free stuff there as well. Mm-hmm. And I have 5 books. My 6th book is coming out in the fall by Ignatius Press. It's called Building a Civilization of Love, A Catholic Response to Racism. Mm-hmm. So where I talk about how the Catholic Church can actually take the lead in helping to close the racial divide and really fulfill what Jesus said. He prayed that in John's Gospel they may be one, as you are one, Father, and I are one. So this talks about how the Catholic Church and the issue of race can really help to bring people together.
That's very necessary. Well, that will be a book that I'm sure many of our viewers will also want to get to know about as well. But Deacon, at this time, before we wrap up, is there any word of advice that you want to give to our viewers at home on how they can really step out of lukewarmness and stand in this truth, which is Christ himself?
Yeah. So adoration. If you don't take anything else away from the time we had together today, is Eucharistic adoration. Because in that silence is where God really speaks to our hearts. You know, we're afraid of silence. We're uncomfortable with silence, but it's particularly in that silence where God can really change your life. Amen. Where you listen to the voice of God and allow that voice to change your life. So Eucharistic adoration is the key.
Yes, it is. Well, Deacon Harold, tell us your website one more time so no one missed it at home.
Yeah, deaconharold.com.